Thank you very much, Mr. Juneja. I request our panelists to please come on the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome our distinguished panelists for today's discussion on growth opportunities for India. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sunil Rohokale, CEO and Managing Director of ASK Investment Managers Limited, Mr. MP Vijay Kumar, Executive Director and Group CFO of SIFI Technologies, and please, sir. And Dr. Satya Gupta, Founder and CFO of EPIC Foundation and President of VLSI Society of India. Please join me in giving them a warm round of applause, please. Very welcome, sirs. I now request Mr. Vijay Bajpai, CHRO Symbiotic Limited, for the floral welcome, and Mr. Girish Matlani, MD Sonic Biochem, for the memento presentation to Mr. Sunil Rohokale, please. Thank you. Thank you. I request Mrs. Archana Shah, Director, Shah Marketing, and Mr. Sushil Dubey, IMA EC member, to please come on the stage for the floral welcome and memento presentation to Mr. MP Vijay Kumar, please. Thank you. I now request Mr. Dinesh Mishra, Associated Vice President of SRF, and Mr. Gaurav Singh Sojatia, Director, Acropolis, to please come on the stage for the floral welcome and memento presentation to Dr. Satya Gupta, please. Thank you. May I now request the AV team to please introduce our guests, Mr. Sunil Rohokale, Mr. MP Vijay Kumar, and Dr. Satya Gupta, please.
Mr. Sunil Rohokale. Sunil Rohokale has set the vision and spearheads the strategy, expansion and culture of ASK Group. He is a passionate business leader with deep understanding of banking and financial services industry. He worked as MD and CEO of ICICI Home Finance Co. Limited. Rohokale is dedicated towards leveraging new age technologies and collaborating with team members to deliver best results. Currently, ASK Group manages close to 78,000 crore of assets under management and advisory. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Sunil Rohokale. Mr. MP Vijay Kumar, a chartered accountant, cost accountant, and company secretary by training. MP Vijay Kumar, or MPV as he is fondly known, was recently elevated to the post of Executive Director and Group CFO of SIFI Technologies. He is also an independent director and chairman of the Audit Committee on the board of the Life Insurance Corporation of India (LIC), and an independent director on the boards of GeoG Financial Services Limited and Heritage Foods Limited. His distinguished career has been established with national and international awards, the latest being the Business World CFO of the Year for 2021. Previous recognitions include being amongst the 100 most influential CFOs in India by IMA and making to the list of top 100 CFOs in India. He is a speaker on the professional circuit of IFRS accounting standards. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. MP Vijay Kumar. Dr. Satya Gupta. Dr. Satya Gupta is a techno-visionary with a wealth of experience and expertise and has been part of the worldwide semiconductor and electronics industry for more than 30 years. He has co-founded 4 successful startups: Intel Microelectronics, Open Silicon, Concept 2 Silicon, and Zepto in electronics and semiconductor areas. He is president of the VLSI Society of India for the last 35 years. Dr. Satya has won many accolades that includes the Open Silicon Award for Best Private Health Semiconductor Company GSA, the Lifetime Achievement Award by Mentor Graphics, Lifetime Achievement Awards by VLSI Society of India in 2023. He has patents and 40 plus technical papers in international journals and conferences to his name. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the techno visionary of India, Dr. Satya Gupta.
So good afternoon and welcome to our today's third session. 3 seems to be a magical number. In fact, this is the 30th IMA Conclave, that is 3 times 10. The time is around 3 o'clock. We have 3 panelists on the stage, all 3 from 3 different streams, and they are going to address our Indian economy, which is at 3 trillion right now, to bring it 3 levels up, is what I would request. So I'll first request Mr. Sunil Rohokale. He is the Managing Director of and CEO of Ask Group, a leading investment management firm with a focus on real estate and other alternative assets. He brings a wealth of experience in finance and investment and has been a key player in shaping the investment landscape in India. As we were discussing, he is managing close to 80,000 crores worth of assets under his management, and he has in-depth knowledge and expertise in the real estate sector too. So may I now request you to please enlighten us on what role do you feel that real estate players will drive and how the Indian economy will be developed with the real estate sector.
Yeah, I think, thank you very much for inviting me and Shaileji for a wonderful introduction. And very happy to have very distinguished panel members with me on the dais today to do a justice today. You know, the first thing when I heard about this conference of IMA, and it talked about reinvent, evolve, and lead, these are very heavy words. These are very heavy words. But in a real corporate world, in a meaningful manner, if you look at the conversion of that, why are we thinking about these three big words? So we are in a world which is very volatile. We are in a world which is very uncertain. We are in a world which is very complex. And we are in a world getting more ambiguous. That's a VUCA moment of the world at large. India is no more different. So in a VUCA world, everybody has to change. All the stakeholders has to change. Whether it is individuals, whether it is companies, whether it are countries, or whether it is a globe as a whole. And I think, so this particular message is so powerful and so impressed about the IMA's thinking. So in real estate is a very core subject of any economy. And real estate today, as we know the statistical data, it contributes almost 6 to 7% of the GDP. It is the industry which is the second largest employer after agriculture. It is the industry which actually caters to 230 ancillary industries. And it is also a sector which is complementing the growth ambition of countries and growth ambition of individuals. Who in this room doesn't want to own a dream home? Who in this room, after getting a dream home, doesn't want to have a weekend home, a holiday home, an international home? The grid continues. Who in this room doesn't need a good retail mall to do shopping? Who doesn't need to have an office space which is sustainable, zero carbon focused? And who doesn't want to go to a movie theater which doesn't? All these become part of the real estate. Real estate doesn't stand there alone. This is the old definition of real estate, having a home, office, retail mall, and multiplexes. The new definition got added to a data center. We heard about all the panelists ahead of us talking about data security, data protection within the country. And hence, the data center is the new wave. The other one, as country is moving, is also talking about warehousing. Warehousing has become the biggest of the area of interest to everybody who keeps interest into real estate. So real estate as a sector has actually been pivotal to the Indian economy. The credit to the real estate sector is very vital for growth because this is a very capital intensive sector. So banks, private equity, NBFCs, housing finance companies play a predominant role in this sector because ultimately this real estate as a sector probably was considered as one of the most notorious sector. It was very unorganized. It was very informal. It was a sector which is very uncertain. Nobody was getting confidence of his home or a title or to that matter completion. So what a big change has happened. This sector has seen a significant change by virtue of its sector has still not become an industry, but the sector has been regulated. The Real Estate Regulatory Act, which has changed the character of this sector big time in 2016-17 when the RERA regulations come in. It is still a journey ahead, but what is the output has happened? And I'll tell you the example of the change. 10 years back, the top 7 cities of this country used to consume 225,000 homes. This is the first year, after 12 years, this country is now started, this year we will cross upward of 3 lakh homes. What does that mean? The means is a change of priority. The reinvention of individuals. Developers are now looking at, they are reviewing their strategies. They are not buying lands. They are not buying assets which they can't convert into meaningful cash. They are not leveraging enough. because they know that leverage is a very dangerous weapon in the bad times. So they are reviewing, they are relooking, they are redesigning their strategies, and finally they are reallocating the resources. And that is the change you will find in real estate. The inventory levels, which was the highest in each city, which was ranging from 36 months to 48 months. That means 3 to 4 years, future homes were ready or under construction in the top 10 cities of this country. Today that number has come down to less than 24 in some cities and less than 12 months in some other cities. What does that mean? That means this sector is completing the projects. And if you complete the projects, and if you use your application of mind of not being greedy, even though without increasing the property prices, this sector the developers can be profitable, the home buyer will be the most happy person, the lender and the private equity will make money. So the fact here is that this sector in the country is actually changing big time. And it is going to be a leading sector in 5-year time. If you are aiming for a 5 trillion economy, this sector is going to be 10 to 12% of the Indian economy. Thank you.
Mr. M.P. Vijay Kumar is a CFO of SIFI and has extensive experience in finance and management across diverse sectors, including technology and telecom. He has played a key role in driving SIFI's growth and transformation over the years. Sir, SIFI has come a long way from being the first private internet service provider to becoming India's largest data center and cloud infrastructure services company. So could you please share your views on how organizations can reinvent themselves and evolve to lead in their respective industries?
So thank you, Sailesh. So good afternoon to all, and extremely happy to be here at this event of IMA. Thankful to the managing team at IMA, and equally important to Mr. Manoj Fadnis, Chartered Accountant from Indore, past president of the Institute and one of my mentors, for having referred my name to IMA to be present here. Coming to the specific question on SIFI's journey in terms of how we have reinvented, I'll take a few minutes just for the benefit of participants here as to where we were when we moved on this journey of reinventing. I'll try to connect it with the theme which we have today of reinventing. For those who are in the age group of 40s and 50s, their first internet experience would have been from SIFI. SIFI broadband to home, SIFI cyber cafe, and those days we had a horizontal portal, sifi.com. I'm talking about the year 99, 2000, 2001. In fact, we had a search engine, just like what you have Google, and just think of year 2000. And we had about 6,000 cyber cafes, centrally administered across the length and breadth of the country when internet was just about opening. And Google was not even there then, it was just Yahoo. And we had the largest horizontal portal, comparable with those days, the American Online. And this is year 2000, 2001. Today you have lots of e-commerce companies, be it Amazon, Flipkart, and the like. And SIFI had an e-commerce platform, e-commerce engine, as powerful as this way back in 2001. And you have Gmail. SIFI had its own mailing solution, SIFI Mailing. And that's year 2000. So SIFI was a pioneering company technologically, and it had those days aspirations to be the internet company of India, serving the billion population of India. But as Biswas explained when he talked about the payments bank, acquisition of customers is a very costly exercise. And acquiring customers between 2000 to 2007, when the internet penetration was low, was extremely tough. And like most e-commerce companies and most online companies, Sifi was burning cash till 2007. So the erstwhile shareholders and management sold the company to a new principal shareholder from US. He acquired the company in 2007 and assembled a new leadership team, and I joined him at that point in time. So that point of time, 2007, for those who can recall, those were early days of Google. For most of us, Google looks like it existed for some 40, 50, 100 years, but Google is just about 17 years or 18 years, just 17, 18-year-old company. So 2004 about was a time when Google made its big presence felt. Fortunately, the new shareholder happened to be from US, and he understood very clearly that Sifi could not compete with Google in its domain. He was extremely clear and took the bold decision, even though he acquired the company thinking that he will capitalize on the B2C opportunity. Within less than a year, he realized that it is just impossible to compete with the likes of Google and also the telecom companies, which were becoming stronger with 3G just then happening around that time and to be followed by 4G later. So given that backdrop, when the new management came in place, we decided as a first step that we will exit the B2C business. So today you don't have broadband to home from Sifi, you don't have the cyber cafe chain, you don't have the Sifi.com portal anymore. So at that point of time, we searched as to what were the capabilities which existed within the company. The company had very strong networking capabilities and it had very strong data center capabilities to the extent that India's first level 3 data center belonged to Sifi. So then we took shape as Sifi 2.0 and started building on infrastructure, both internet infrastructure to serve the enterprise segment and the data center infrastructure. And in both of these, today we are among the industry leaders. Having successfully built the infrastructure business, we turned into black in 2012. Till then we were bleeding cash. Thereafter we started becoming a services player on top of the infrastructure. So how did we go about this exercise of reinventing ourselves? We had to give up something and take up something new. That particular journey required three things. One was a deep understanding of what the customer requirements were. We spent a huge amount of effort in terms of training the organization to develop capabilities to understand the information technology infrastructure requirements of the customer. The second important thing which we did is to get in place. I think in the morning first session, somebody was mentioning this as well, is to get a good leadership team of about 40 people or so. We got a very strong leadership team and happy to share out of 40, almost 32 of them are still with us after 15 years of that journey which got commenced. So it is extremely important to get a leadership team who will be emotionally connected to the organization and will participate in the company's growth story. And third is, we were never worried about either the top line or the bottom line. We were more worried about building efficient operations which will meet the customer's requirements. And that mantra, particularly the third one, is actually what helped us to be where we are today. So that's in brief the journey of how we reinvented ourselves from a loss-making B2C company to a B2B company, which is reasonably successful and among the industry leaders.
Thank you for sharing. Mr. Sunil sir, you have been investing in a lot of other sectors as well. And now, as far as we discussed earlier, that a lot of your share of investment is also into other industries. So looking forward, what do you think are the promising sectors for investment?
Yeah, I think this is very, very interesting question. It matters the most. Where should we put our hard-earned money, where we can get better returns, or which are the industries which has got uh, opportunity to generate superlative returns? Any industry, there will be risk, but they are always risk adjusted. I think the first and foremost, I think we need to understand is that, and we need to appreciate this fact that we are at times I feel we are hypercritical about India. India has grown, and I'll take 1 minute just to tell you that when I was young, and India's per capita income was $250, having a bicycle was a sign of wealth. Then my generation came, maybe my father's generation was bicycle economy. When my generation came, having a motorcycle at home at $500 per capita income was like a great story. At 750, my son born, and he had a car. So it's a car economy at $750 per capita income. And at 1,000, we all had our own home. It's $1,000 per capita economy. Today, as we speak, India's per capita income is $2,200. And we are $3 trillion economy. We are soon, this decade, we are going to be a $5 trillion economy. And already this is the third year of this decade. So we are, in 5-7 years' time, we are going to be $5 trillion economy. What does that mean? That means our per capita income is going to go to $5,000, near about. That means we'll have surplus money available in our hands, beyond your basic needs. What does that mean? That clearly means that these monies are going to go on some spending. Where will people spend? So one school of thought is, we are Indians, so people will invest first. After investment, they would spend money on wellness, they will spend money on health, they'll spend money on travel, they will spend money on tourism. Human beings like traveling. So these four sectors is a very natural spend, and there is no difference. You go to all the airports of India. We have now 150, 165 airports under construction. See, everywhere we spontaneously say, oh, is this an airport or a railway station? We should actually be taking pride saying that so many people are now flying, which is good news, am I right? So India, I think we need to understand this part. We have been overtly been negative about Indian context. India naturally is a compounding machine. And what I'm saying compounding machine, in returns, if you don't understand the compounding power, then you have not understood the finance or investments. Compounding machine, India in the last 20 years have generated 20% CAGR return, more than 100 companies vis-a-vis a dozen companies in US and only less than 10 companies in China. So Indian-led entrepreneur companies have done hands down better globally because they are very efficient, they are frugal, they are humble, they use capital very efficiently. So that is the second part. Third part is why India investment is so exciting, because we have so much of talent, so many engineers. India produces highest number of engineers in the world. We are English-speaking country. Third part is that our cost of labor is still far, far lower than developed economies. At the fourth, we have not left there. We have reinvented ourselves as a country and become a digital economy. And UPI is a classic example. We heard so much about it. Let me give you one statistical data. Visa was supposed to be the powerful credit card network. Whatever transaction they do for the year, our UPI does it in 1 month. So the digitization of this country, the UPI, Jan Dhan accounts, the bank account, the smartphones, the internet connectivity has changed the India's character. So technology-led revolution in India is going to be very different. And this budget, if I have to just take a step away and say, this budget to my mind was not a budget of physical infrastructure, but this budget was a physical and digital infrastructure. That means there was a mention. When do you hear in Indian finance minister talking about digital part? a KYC part. They are talking about having a KYC at one-stop KYC so that people don't ask you again your Aadhaar card and PAN number again and again. Your Aadhaar card becomes your identity and PAN number becomes your access, correct? So these things have worked very well. India has not stopped there. So while you invest, you have to look at what is the areas which are going to change. And what we see as a fund managers, we feel that anything to do with cost optimization, anything to do with efficiency, anything to do with better capital utilization, those industries, and anything to do with innovation, where people consciously work towards doing disruptions, and the disruptions in a positive manner, those industries are going to work. So what are the specialized industries where today India has a promise? India has a terrific promise, and we must have heard about China Plus. What is China Plus? People were over-dependent on China. People want alternative to China. People were over-dependent on Europe. People wanted to have Europe alternative. So India is clearly emerging as China Plus and Europe Plus economy. Now the industries like power, power energy transmission, I think that's a very important one. The electric mobility, whether it's two-wheeler, four-wheeler, trucks, is going to be another one. Specialty chemicals businesses, they are changing big time. We were dependent on China, but today the local super specialty companies, chemical companies are doing extremely well. So I think at this point of time, it is not incentive which leads the Indian manufacturing. It is the innovation and the global opportunity which is led that whole part. So I feel India at this point of time is ready to invest into technology-led businesses, and that is what the theme of your, you have to reinvent, reallocate the resources. Second part is that we have to just see what is our core competence as a country, and those sectors and those sector leaders in that company, sectors, if you just identify, you will find your own portfolio on your lap. So I think India is ready for this new level. And if I have to just summarize one line, this is India's golden decade. The question is whether it is a decade or decades. Decade is given, decades is in our hands.
Thank you very much. Dr. Satya, we just were discussing about your VLSI new chapter which you opened in Gujarat, and probably you are planning to open one in Indore too. So I would request you to just share what are the actually expectations that the students here or the new budding entrepreneurs who want to enter into the electronic or semiconductor industry. So what will be your advice to the student population?
Sure. As in the introduction, VLSI Society of India is a 35-year-old organization to promote the chip design, which is synonymous with VLSI, to promote that in the country. So far we had only one central organization in the country which does the conferences workshop. But what we felt, because of various reasons, if we have to grow this sector significantly, we have to involve every part of the country and not just basically Bangalore and Hyderabad only, right? So towards this goal, we decided to open the chapters of VLSI Society of India across 8 to 10 cities of the country. So first one we did in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Second one we are planning in the month of March at Indore, and then Jammu, Bhubaneswar, Guwahati, primarily targeting the tier 2 city where we need to grow the talent in this area. The goal of this exercise is, number one is to grow the talent, because the need of the VLSI engineers today is very high, and with the current set of the existing facilities, we are not producing enough, right? Second is basically grow the research and development in this area, so that we can produce the new technologies. And third is to promote the startup ecosystem in this. Our goal is to have at least one electronics or semiconductor startup in every district of India. So that is 766 district, plus some of them will do more. So we will get 1,000 startups. And why we are confident this can be done? Because today, doing a startup in this area, you don't need much of infrastructure, right? It's almost becoming like a software startup. You have a computer, a good team of people, and a good idea. You can start a basically semiconductor chip startup, right? Because, and with the government incentives, they will give free tools, free, subsidized manufacturing, and all of those things. So these chapters will help us in democratizing this area to each and every part of the country and each and every part of the budding entrepreneurs or students can participate in this journey. So that's the overall goal, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Vijay Kumar, will you please enlighten the audience about the growth opportunities that we can have in the field of artificial intelligence and IoT?
Let me continue from where Sunil left. He talked about technology-led companies. Maybe almost all of you are familiar and you would have heard as well. The last 20, 30 years where not just India, the world embraced technology. We have witnessed companies using technology for improving efficiency of operations, automation of some of their activities. Contrary to what we have seen in the last 20, 30 years, what we will witness going forward is, and what you are actually experiencing now, is also companies who will actually be technology companies, who will be in the business of, whether it is automobile manufacturing, or be it in the business of banking service or hospitality services. So the past was automobile companies using technology, banks using technology, hospitality services using technology, logistics using technology, but now it will be the other way around. It will be technology company like Tesla in the business of automobile, a technology company like Google in the business of automobile. Same with banking. We heard Mr. Biswas a little while ago on technology, banking, and the kind of disruption it brings. And similarly, you're all witness to WhatsApp banking, all the Google Pays. These are all technology-based banking services. So these companies don't look at themselves as banking companies. They don't look at themselves as an automobile company. They look at themselves as a technology company who is offering logistics solution, automobile, offering banking solutions, banking. So the way they think is completely different. And the beauty of technology, as all of us know, I don't think I need to reiterate, is that it allows disruption of the existing play in a constructive sense. Second is the pace at which you can scale, and test whether you will be successful, unsuccessful. You will know that you are not successful within less than 2 years, and then you can claw back. So that's the beauty of technology. What this shift means is the extensive use of three things. Artificial intelligence, all of us are familiar as to how it is impacting our day-to-day lives to such an extent that today, if you get a message, let's say on LinkedIn, it automatically prompts you what to reply. It prompts you what to reply. And that's something all of us experience. That's AI. Then there is machine learning, and third is blockchain. These three technologies will be quite disruptive, but let me share with you, these technologies will not be those which will last too long. They will get replaced with something else, probably within 3-4 years. But to answer the specific question on the impact of AI and IoT, AI, people believe that by 2030, it is easily a $2 trillion market. And on IoT, we are early stages now. 5G technology is just getting implemented. And with 5G, the ability to use IoT gets triggered. And that's a $1 trillion market. And these are opportunities in that particular segment. It's multiple users are there. Probably each of them require a 3-hour separate session. But interest of time, suffice it to say that the opportunities are huge as far as all of these technologies are concerned. But let me caution you one thing. There are two kinds of players. One who are in the process of serving technology. Second is those who are in the place of consuming technology. Most of us here consume technology. And when we consume technology, it's important to realize that our focus should be on how I can use technology and not how technology works. I have seen a very common mistake which most companies do is they try to build their own technology teams within the company and they try to understand how a technology works. That's almost a sure mantra for failure. Please do not invest in that because the risk of obsolescence is so very high. Your technology team with whatever skills it might have, that skills will be relevant for only 3-4 years. And that cost of obsolescence can be very harmful to a company. Most of us are consumers of technology. So what we need to identify is good partners who can keep giving us access to the technology which is relevant at that point in time, and we don't take the risk of obsolescence of technology.
Thank you.
Yeah, means like we all talked morning and now about being consumer of the technology, but we cannot forever depend on somebody else supplying the technology to us. So we have to equally focus on developing the technology. That's what is going to power the engine of the consumption of the technology. And IoT is a very interesting and very relatively low cost option for entrepreneurs to get into. It is in the second wave of adoption. It will grow very fast as any technology grows very fast in the second wave of adoption. So all the students out here and entrepreneurs, this is a very exciting thing where you can create your own technologies and products and give it to the people who want to consume the technology.
Thank you for this valuable comment. I think what we all agree that technology should be focused to those people who are actually only going to be in technology. Of course, investments in technology is must, but hardcore technologists or people who are actually going to be in that field should focus on that. And rest of us probably could be consumers of technology. I think very well put. Thank you so much. Probably we can take this further with what will be the role of technology and innovation in driving the growth and the transformation in India.
See, technology is an enabler. Let's be very clear. Technology by alone will not do any business. Technology has to be executed and it has to improve the stated objective, whether it is productivity, whether it is optimization, whether it is a customer experience, whether it is ease of doing business. So the purpose of the technology has to be well defined. And my sense is that if you just go back, and I'm again going back to the previous sessions on the technology side, and in the context of this, this particular conference, you know, the people who have reinvented themselves the most are the people whom we never thought will use technology. Smartphones or Facebook or to that matter Google or UPI is the people who are born in 50s to 70s. People of previous generation to mine. If you go to today the millennials, maybe my children and my father are best friends and they are best friends, naturally the grandchildren are best friends, but they're best friend for learning new things. Today my father does WhatsApp very effectively. I'm sure there is the same experience everywhere. He himself does UPI. He himself doesn't go to the bank. As we mentioned, that you don't need wallet in your pocket to travel to other countries. And I'm genuinely saying today, as I'm here in Indore, I don't have any cash in my pocket. The technology change in each sector is very specific. And let me put it into context of some of the investment management side technology part. We used to have you apply to a bank, they will give KYC. You go to the mutual fund, they'll give KYC. If you go to portfolio manager, they'll ask the same document. Everybody asks the same document. As a government has reinvented, and there is a centralized KYC system. Now government of India has gone even further and said, to even improvise the experience of technology and ease of doing business and probably get impacted, all your bank accounts, all your demat accounts, all your investment accounts, everything which is to do with banking would be accessed at one click of a button. So account aggregator, that means if you are opening with 4 banks, all the 4 bank statements, if you have 5 mutual funds, 5 mutual funds will come into picture. Every data will be available on one single piece of paper. I think that technology would disrupt the way we consume, the way we invest, the way we expect the technology to play a role. So my sense is technology is a disruptor for sure. We should not be victim of technology. And while I think Mr. Pant has said it very, very nicely, that we have a technology hygiene, cyber hygiene. We should not be the victim of technology. And hence there are responsibilities when you adopt the technology towards yourself, towards nation, towards the people. So I think we are running out of time. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Before we conclude this session, I would request all of the participants to please collect your kits after the last session is over. Thank you. As we bring our panel discussion to close, I want to express my gratitude to our panelists, Mr. MP Vijay Kumar, Mr. Sunil Rohokale, and Dr. Satya Gupta, for sharing their valuable insights and expertise. As we look ahead, it is clear that India has enormous potential for growth and development, and that there are many opportunities for businesses, investors, and the government to work together to create a more prosperous and sustainable future.